True Story Media.
When I'm in the studio, I am always sitting across from Sydney Gladu. And today, I forced her to sit at the mic so that we could talk about season 2. This is my favorite part because she does not like to have these conversations. So I'm going to start and ask Sid some questions.
Oh, no.
Hello, Nigel here. As an owl, I love to be awake all night, but allergy sufferers like you probably don't feel the same. So take Zysol at night to relieve allergies while you sleep. Then wake up fully refreshed for a more productive day. Zysol works fast and offers 24-hour continuous relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat, so you can enjoy doing the things you love all day long. Be Wisol. Take Zysol at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
It won't be too hard. I'm going to start with an easy one, maybe.
Okay.
I will ask the favorite because I think our favorites are going to be the same. So which was your favorite story to tell?
Well, it was just such a different season. The first season, we took so much time to tell your story. It wasn't one story, it was many stories. But this season, we got to meet so many different people and talk to a bunch of folks, some who, haven't been aired yet, but we might collaborate with down the line. So that's exciting. But I think I don't have a favorite. You're not supposed to pick favorite kids. I know you have a favorite kid, but you're not supposed to pick.
I do have a favorite kid. I don't have to say that publicly because literally everybody knows who it is, including everybody. They all have the same favorite kid of mine. I will say that even though I do have a favorite kid, I love all my kids for different reasons because of their strengths, and they're all so different. And you're right that season 2 is that same way because, telling Kash's story was so empowering and I loved that part. And the dynamic between Lou and Eve was just so, is it heartening? Is that the right word? So restores my faith in humanity that people can come together and just be kind to each other through those tough times. As a side note, I just got back from Ireland and I got to hang out with Lou and Eve for the day, and that was fantastic. But I will say that Gina and Viv's story was so much fun to tell, which we don't usually get to tell fun stories.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. And I think that it was hardest to tell Gina's story for me because there was this whole timeline of before and after self-discovery, the 20-year-old relationship. So that timeline was really tricky to work with, trying to signal the different shifts in between those time periods.
It is so much fun to watch you edit while I'm talking because I can see you doing it in your head. You're like, oh, I'm going to put this there and this is going to be great there. And you don't say that, but your face does. And I can see the whole, this is how I'm going to lay it out and tell the story. And that is a talent that I do not have. And it's incredible.
It's a very fun puzzle. And it's really interesting when you're telling a story of someone and you meet them in their after. So you're trying to figure out who they were before. That's kind of a weird one.
So did you have that problem with me in season 1?
Because we did listener stories, we didn't spend as much time with those people as like you and I got to spend together in season 1.
No, we were like attached at the hip.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just different to really try and understand people in, a few 1-hour interviews.
I think you did a phenomenal job, though, taking those interviews and pulling those parts out that really highlighted who they were as a person and the resilience and strength that they all had to handle all of these crazy things that are happening in their life. So, big applause to Sid.
Thank you.
Because, I can sit and talk into a mic for hours. We've learned that. But what you do is so impressive in taking these stories and weaving them into something that our listeners can love and relate to. And that's huge.
Oh, thank you, Britt.
And maybe you guys might not know this. We'll see if she leaves us in. Sid is the same age as Bree, as my daughter. And they actually know some of the same people. So small world that Seattle is, but I absolutely love seeing a woman take so much control over their career in such an authentic way at your age. And it's really impressive. And I'm really grateful that I have you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice to hear. I will say, well, it's a vicious industry out here, as we both know, from the side of being a host and the side of being a producer. Sometimes the world makes decisions for you, which is also a lot of how we came into season 2. We had a lot happen unexpectedly in October. We were actually supposed to release season 2 in October, which would have been a shit show.
It would have been, and I think that the quality and the authenticity wouldn't have been there. I think that if we would have rushed these stories, or we were slated to pick a couple different stories, I don't know that it would have had the same. I wouldn't have the same pride in what we've done, because though it is a very different format than season 1, I am so proud of what we did and the stories that we shared. And I will say, you and I have talked about this. I did countless hours meeting with women that have shared their stories with me. And every single one of them is powerful and heartbreaking and so inspiring in how these women have navigated through all of these difficult times. And some of the stories have just been really hard to hear. One of the things we've also had to decide is what stories we're going to share. I think this season we did a good job balancing. I absolutely love that we ended with Gina and Viv's story, because it really does give me so much hope for.
Yeah, it's really nice to have hope and just to see, I mean, again, like as someone who's only 28, I love the idea that I get to change so much more in my life. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it really is looking at my generation of women that are, I think, taking back a lot of power that they didn't know they had when we were your age. And I see it in you and with Bree and all of her friends. They're living for themselves. And I think that is so incredibly cool. They're not rushing out to get married. Some of her friends have had kids or gotten married, but they've all done it on their own terms. And I think there's so much, I just think that it represents so much positive change in how women are stepping into themselves in their 20s, so that they're not waiting until they're 40 to have to figure it out. You can change your life anytime you want.
Yeah.
You know,
That really is, I think, a theme in this season that comes through is just deciding to do something different and not knowing how it's going to go and taking that risk, like whether that's like disclosing a past experience, which I know that your story from episode 5 also really explored that theme of sharing something. What was it like for you to share that story with the world after, having shared it with your dad? And
so the interesting thing about that story was it's the one that I have wanted to tell the most this whole time, because I think sexual assault and sexual abuse is so incredibly common and underreported. And it's the one that I want out there the most, is that it's scary when it happens and it's awful, but find someone to share it with. Don't live with it because it isn't your own shame. And I know how different my life would have been, just even from an emotional standpoint, if I would have just trusted somebody. And, my dad has said that he's so sad that I didn't feel like I could talk to him about it. But it's not even that he did anything wrong. It's really society has this, don't tell. It was hard to tell, but personally, it was my favorite episode. Well, Ep 1 was pretty good because I did learn so much after season 1 just about myself and what it felt like to share my story. And I think that we have grown a lot. You and I, so October was wild. And then we did this big shift. And after we released in January, that's a whole big ride that we went on. But you and I talked, I think it was the end of February. And you said, I was dying. You were like, we're totally different people than we were 2 months ago.
Yeah.
What has this been like for you? Because this is like, we're in the dirt doing this. Like, what has that felt like for you?
I was actually just reflecting on this because season 1 came out in June. And so around this time last year, we were putting together episodes 2, 3, 4. And, we had storyboarded 5 and 6 and we had, but we were still getting pickups and narration and putting together interview selects. And I was deeply unwell because I just fall face first into the story. And I'm doing it right now with another project as well that we can talk about later.
I'm so excited about this other project too.
But it's nauseating. I'm obsessive. My brother often tells me that he thinks that I'm really good at my job and and I'm no, I'm just obsessed with it. I'm just obsessed with doing this work, and it makes me feel fulfilled and happy and excited, and I want it to be as good as possible. So I am working on finding my boundaries with that. I don't want to be a grind culture person, but
I don't think that
I love it.
I don't think you should find your boundaries, because I think that's what makes you good at your job. Because if you don't love it and you don't get obsessive about the story you're telling, it's not going to come out authentically. If you start setting boundaries, Sid, we're going to have to start chatting, because that's not going to work. I need you obsessed with the stories.
Yeah.
Because that's where the heart comes from. Did you know that April is Financial Literacy Month? They made a whole month reminding you to finally take control of your money. The good news is that you don't need 30 days. Acorns makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future in just 5 minutes. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. Get started with the spare money you have right now. I've had all my kids sign up so that they can take any of their extra money and save it, but also give them a way to learn about investing. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/youprobably or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid, non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorn Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/youprobably.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at michelobultra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit michelobultra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
So good, so good, so good.
Great gifts for mom? We've got them. And they're up to 60% off at Nordstrom Rack stores now.
You know they have Marc Jacobs?
Gotta show mom some love.
That is so good.
Snag amazing deals on Mother's Day gifts from Barefoot Dreams, Kate Spade New York, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Yeah, I will say a lot of the things that have changed in the last 3 months have been like really learning more about the business side, really learning how to run a production. Sometimes we've done it effectively, sometimes we have not. And yeah, there's so much to know. This business is an insane place. Every day I hear another crazy story.
The sad part, because I'm new to this whole industry, is that it isn't creator friendly, this business. And so this is the first time in my life that I've ever had a business that depends on being creative. It's been a real steep learning curve, and I'm grateful for all the people that we've had in our circle that we can trust and help navigate this whole system. But it's like the Wild West.
I still just remember that young lady that came into the studio and told me she had never listened to a podcast.
That was me. First day I ever met Sid, she was like, what's your favorite podcast? I'm like, I've never listened to a podcast. Now I do listen to lots of podcasts. But I do think that this is such a phenomenal medium for people to be able to share their stories. And we have some of which we've done a few funny TikToks, I think, but we have some funny reviews that are, I think one was like, it sounds like this person just wants to talk about themselves and share their story. And it's like, that's the whole show. Like, that's actually the whole entire show. And in listening to other people's podcasts, those are the podcasts that I resonate with, are the ones that either are sharing their own personal story or allow other people to share their stories. And I think that's what we need, is more people sharing stories.
I've given you a lot of podcast listening homework over the last year, and I think you've found some others on your own too. I'm curious, what are your favorite podcasts you've listened to?
So I'm with books and movies and TV shows. I'm one of those people that if I love it, I'll watch it a bunch of times, or I'll read the book over and over again. And how I judge the podcasts that I love is the one that I listen to over and over again. And S-Town is just phenomenal. I mean, the story is incredible. The production was beautiful. So I love S-Town, obviously. And then there's a couple that Dating Detectives, I think they do a really good job sharing listener stories, and they do it respectfully, and I really love that. Of course, Nobody Should Believe Me is up on my list, and Secondhand Therapy, which you guys heard last week in the feed. It's one that I listen to every week. I subscribe on Patreon. I am like a fangirl of just two men that are actually doing the hard work in therapy. And I really appreciate that. We have actually tried to share a couple stories of men, and it's really hard because some of these men aren't there yet. Like,
Yeah, we've had some people fall off and not want to, which is fine. Everyone has their own journey.
I would love to get men's voices in here because I, though have had a real rough experience, I know so many amazing men. And even in your life, like you are so close to so many really amazing men.
Brittani.
Uh-oh.
Where are you at with dating?
I get scared when you call me Brittani and use my full legal name. Dating, if you guys listen to me on Bad Dates, you'll know why I got off the apps. That was a super fun episode with Sasha Colby and Nikki Boyer. But I haven't been on the apps this whole year, and I haven't really attempted to date this year, which it's been lonely and rough. But I don't think I'm in the right headspace for it today. And I have last year I dated 3 different guys that had listened to season 1, and that was really complicated. At first I thought it was going to be good. Like, they get the background. I don't have to tell them my history. What I learned with 2 of them is that it's a very easy way to manipulate me because they have a cheat code to all my vulnerabilities. So that was a hard lesson to learn. And so I don't know how to date and have the podcast. And part of it is like, I want to tell people what I'm doing. And obviously the podcast is a huge part of my life and very important to me. But at the same time, if they listen to it, then like how, well, I guess the answer is that if you find the right person, they aren't going to use it for evil doings. But we'll see what happens. It's, as much as I don't want to compromise who I am, and I'm not willing to sacrifice me being me, I do want to have a partner. Like I would love to have someone that I can share life with because it's more fun that way. And I love having fun.
I will say, even if you don't have a romantic partner, you do have a lot of people you share your life with.
I do. And I have such a full life that it does. I am grateful for all of the support that I have with friends and family. And in between seasons, I got to take time off and go visit people that are my safe place and not worry about any of that for a while.
Well, that's a great segue to season 3.
Season 3, I'm so excited about because it is, well, I'm excited and terrified.
So during season 2 production, when we were interviewing people, Brittani has all these friends, and I'm always like, we can't just make this show about your friends. We have, but you do have a lot of great friends with awesome stories, really interesting. So she sent me the name of a guy. I won't share his name yet.
Let's wait. Let's gatekeep that.
So she sent me the name of this guy and gave me a tiny bit of background on him. And I gave him a call for a little pre-interview and proceeded to hear the most wild life story that I have ever heard, which is saying a lot. And I did not know what to do with him.
And I told you, you were like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, well, we're just going to let him talk. And I want to see where it goes.
Yeah. And it has gone somewhere. And it is going to keep going somewhere.
We were colleagues. We've been friends for over 2 decades. And through a lot of like business stuff, market changes and, you know, all of the stuff that really does affect your life, but also divorces and raising kids. And his kids are phenomenal. But he and I have very differing opinions on a lot of things, but we're both single in our 40s, trying to figure out how to not compromise who we are and find someone that fits this checklist that every year seems to get a little longer. And I am really excited to dive in because he's wild and he's very different than I am.
I don't think this is a spoiler, Brittany, but life is about compromises.
Is it?
Yes. It's just finding the things you want to compromise, right?
But maybe that's the difference with my 20 years experience on you is that I don't want to compromise anything anymore. Does that work then? Is this I'm single forever? Okay, so we don't need
to be revealed.
We don't need to do season 3.
Season 3.
Okay.
More too shall be revealed.
Okay. I'm excited about that.
Did we spill enough tea?
Is there ever? And if you don't leave this part in, I'm going to kick your ass. But I really love you and appreciate you. And there's no way that any of this could happen without you. You can support the show by joining us on Apple Podcasts or Patreon. Episodes are available early and ad-free. Our executive producer is me, Brittani Ard. Our senior producer and editor is Sydney Gladu. Sound engineering by Sean Simmons. Graphic design by Nigella Shama. Opening theme by Youthstar and Miscellaneous. You probably think This Story's About You is a production of BDE Unlimited Productions. You can follow me for updates at Brittani.Ard on all social media platforms. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to hit that follow button wherever you're listening to this podcast. Give us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I love responding to comments on Spotify. Trolling the trolls is my new favorite pastime.